we got a few more on the way.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of E-Rose's College Football Show. In this video today, we are going to be focusing on the Oregon Ducks 2026 schedule. And as the title mentioned, we're going to be giving our prediction and a bit of a preview for that as well for the 2026 Oregon Ducks. As we know, Dan Lanning has built one of the most consistent programs in all of college football, and after yet another playoff appearance this past year, Oregon enters this coming year, 2026, with some major national championship expectations. The question is this the year that Oregon finally wins a natty? They've been so close every year. If you remember 2 years ago, they won the Big Ten, 13-0, get into the playoff, get a first-round bye, and get knocked out in the quarterfinals by Ohio State. This past year, they didn't make it to the Big Ten championship, but they did get into the CFP, made it all the way to the semifinals, the top four, and then they get blown out by Indiana, having their hopes and dreams cut short. Is this the year that Oregon finally wins a natty? With this 2026 Ducks team, the biggest headline by far has been their quarterback, Dante Moore, returning for another season. As we know, he is a key piece. He's a leader to this team. He's a key piece to the offense as well. And Dante Moore enters 2026 as one of the most experienced quarterbacks among all playoff contenders and playoff teams, potential playoff teams. And he is viewed also as a potential first-round NFL draft prospect. I think if Dante Moore, and if he does take another big step this year, Oregon could easily have the best quarterback in the Big Ten, if not the entire nation, the entire country. And Oregon, if Dante does take a step forward, Oregon could easily be the team to beat in the Big Ten. Alongside Dante Moore, we have another Moore, or should I say we have more Moores. Wide receiver DeCorian Moore is returning. Obviously, he's very young in his career, former five-star recruit. As a Buckeye fan, I thought we would get DeCorian Moore. He decided to play for the Ducks, and man, I truly think he is going to be a breakout star this year. Such a talented young man. I think he's going to put up a lot of stats and have a lot of great numbers in the 2026 season. He could become potentially wide receiver one at Oregon, but we'll wait to see if that happens. Another wide receiver that you can't sleep on is Evan Stewart. Obviously, we've heard this name for a few years now. He's a veteran on this team. He's a big playmaker. Trust me, I'm an Ohio State fan. I saw how good of a playmaker he is. He's one of the most explosive athletes in the Big Ten Conference. Also on the offense, you have running back Jordan Davison. He is a very young back, but I do believe he has a huge upside. He has a very high ceiling if he can perform and develop and play at his best. He is expected to take on a larger role this season for the Ducks. Shifting to the defense, we have some impact players, starting with defensive end Mateo Uiagalelei. Dude is an absolute beast. Not much needs to be said about him. You've probably heard the name. You've probably seen some of his highlights. He is an absolute unit. If he can't go around you, he will just decide to go through you. He is one of the best pass rushers in all of college football. The only person that I have seen make Quinshon Judkins fumble the ball. Granted, Quinshon, yes, he did have a broken hand during that game a few years ago, but still very, very impressive and a very, very physical specimen. He's also a potential All-American candidate. So not much needs said about Mateo Uiagalelei. Also, another piece on the defense is Naheem Offord, another former Ohio State commit, or at least so I thought he was going to commit to the Buckeyes. Decided to go with the Ducks. Former five-star recruit, blue chip, great player, very talented. I think this year might be his year. I think this year could possibly be the year that he emerges as one of the best defensive backs in the nation. All right, guys, enough of the roster talk. Let's jump into the schedule. Let's jump into previewing the 2026 Oregon Ducks. Game 1, September 5th, the season opener versus Boise State. Now, you know, and I know, and everybody knows that Boise State is a shell of who they once were with Ashton Genty, or even back in the early 2000s when they beat Oklahoma. I do think this is a fairly easy win for Oregon. May even feel like another day at practice or like somewhat of a scrimmage. That's what I'm predicting. I'm predicting Oregon to win. But the question that no one is asking is this: why does Oregon play Boise State almost every single year when they're not in the same conference and they never have been? Why is that? Why in the non-conference do they play, at least in my mind, I feel like every single year at the beginning of the season, it's Oregon versus Boise State. Regardless of the record or how good they're doing, they're always playing. Question, I may never know. Feels like they're doing, how Texas and Ohio State did a home and home. Teams often do a home and home. I don't know, it seems like they do a home and home every single year. But give me Oregon Ducks in game number 1. Game number 2, September 12th at Oklahoma State. Now, obviously, this Oklahoma State program has had a big fall from grace. They are 1-20. You heard me right, 1-20 in their last 21 games, and they are recovering currently from a very steep, again, fall from grace, whatever you want to call it, steep program decline. Can't get much lower till you find rock bottom than they are right now. Obviously, they fired their coach Mike Gundy, and I am thinking that this is not going to be much of a matchup at all. This should be a really easy, even though it's on the road, I do think it will be an easy win for the Ducks. So we got the Ducks 2-0 going into game number 3 on September 19th, which is my 1-year wedding anniversary. Let's go. They are facing Portland State. Who is that, you might ask? I have no idea. I've never heard of this team. I don't even know if they're D1. I don't think they are a D1 school, or at least an FBS school. We're not even going to waste our breath or our time breaking down this game. No explanation needed. Automatic W by the Ducks. It's probably going to be some outlandish score, like 60-3. I don't see this team scoring over 3 points. I don't even know who they are, to be truthful with you. I think Oregon can play the entire game with their twos and still win. Easily, comfortably. So let's just chalk that up to a W and move on to the more interesting games. Actually, with a very interesting game, game number 4 on September 26th, Oregon is going on the road to the Coliseum to play USC. This is the first big test of the season, and a road test at that. It also is a very important game for Lincoln Riley and this USC program. He's got to get the gears turning, or they may have to find another coach. And this is going to be a very interesting game to watch, and I can't wait to watch it. I'll be on a cruise when this game's happening. I will be watching, no matter what measures I have to take. If I have to rob someone's phone and watch it, I will. Not a crime, okay? You didn't hear that. As we know, Oregon usually overpowers USC in the second half. They usually win by a decent margin, and it's usually not too close. They usually win by 10 plus points. I do, however, think that is not how this game is going to go. I think this one is going to be a little bit closer than people anticipate. I think it's going to be neck and neck. Jordan Mayava at USC, Dante Moore, Oregon, they're going to be striking. It's going to be a shootout. I think it's going to be a barn burner. And I do think Oregon is finally going to clutch up at the very end with a walk-off field goal to win the game in the Coliseum on the road, which is going to be a huge win for the Ducks. The Ducks will be 4-0, barring my prediction being wrong, going into game number 5, October the 10th versus UCLA. It's a home game. They're playing UCLA with this new coaching staff. Nico Iamaleava is back, and he's going to be a seasoned veteran at this point, and we'll see what happens, but I don't think it matters. They have a new staff. I don't think it matters that Nico is coming back for, I believe, his junior year. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't. Dante Moore and this Oregon team are just no match. The Bruins are no match for them. I think they're going to steamroll the Bruins and win by a very large number. Very large number. Give the Ducks a win in game number 5. 5-0 heading into the next game, game number 6, October 17th versus Nebraska. Now, here's all I got to say. Sorry, Matt Rule. you are not winning this game in Autzen Stadium, especially after Dylan Raiola transfers to this team that you're going to be playing. This is Raiola's first game back against his old team in the Huskers that he played for 2 years. And obviously he probably won't see much playing time until it gets ugly and gets to garbage time. However, no way. 0% chance Nebraska without Dylan Raiola goes into Autzen and beats Oregon. No chance. Don't think it's close. I think Oregon is definitely going to pull away after the first quarter. And you know what? Raiola may be able to throw some dots on his old team in the Huskers and, get his get back. Do what you feel, I guess. I have the Ducks going, they'll be 6-0 then, going to the next game, game number 7, October 24th at Illinois. Here's the thing. If there was ever a rocky road game that catches you off guard, that somehow, some way comes out of the blue, comes out of left field and becomes a slugfest, then I think it is this game right here. Call me crazy. Say what you want in the comments. I've seen it. Look at the O's. Look at the stuff behind me. Ohio State. I witnessed this in 2007. Ohio State, number 1 team in the land, undefeated, rolls into Illinois. Illinois is no match for the Buckeyes. Buckeyes going to crush them. They're going to blow them out. There's no competition here. And what happens? The Buckeyes go out there as the number 1 ranked team in the nation and lose on the road at Illinois. I have never been shocked. I've been shocked very few times to this amount in my entire life. However, again, I do think it could be a rocky road game for the Ducks. Could be somewhat of a slugfest if it turns out like it did for the Buckeyes 20 years ago. However, I do think the Ducks will be in midseason form by this point, especially having that confidence boost, beating USC. So I do think the Ducks will be able to handle this road test and get the win unscathed, going 7-0 into game number 8. Game number 8 is about to be spooky. Why? It's on October 31st. It is versus Northwestern. Now, everybody and their mama and their mama's goldfish is thinking the same thing here. On paper, this should be an easy win, right? It's a spooky day. This is a classic spot for a trap game, considering the Ducks faced Ohio State the very next week after this. So, October 31st, it's trick or treat, and it might not be a treat. I don't know. I do think in this game, Oregon is looking ahead just a little bit, just anticipating, that really long travel to Ohio Stadium, to the Buckeyes. And I think they're going to be a little sluggish. I think they're going to be looking ahead. I think it could be somewhat of a trap game, but I don't think they're going to be so behind the 8 ball that they're going to lose this game outright versus Northwestern. Just doesn't make sense to me. I just don't see any world, no matter how Oregon plays, I do not see Northwestern beating them in this game. I do think they'll be a little slow, a little sluggish. But I do think the Ducks will roll the helmets out here and get the W. They'll get out of this spooky, spooky Saturday and get on to the next one, being 8-0 for the big game. This is it, guys. Game number 9, November 7th at Ohio State. This is a potential game of the year candidate, and many people probably are already labeling, outside of Ohio State at Texas, this is one of the games of the year, if not the game of the year. This game has been circled on my calendar for months in advance at this point. And these are really, Ohio State and Oregon are my 2 teams to beat, not just in the Big Ten, but I think the entire country. If you were to give me 2 guesses, okay, 2 guesses of who I think is going to win the national championship, 1A is going to be Ohio State. I think they have what it takes to win. And 1B is going to be Oregon. That's my second choice. I truly think these 2 teams have the best shot at winning the Natty this year. Now, how is this game going to play out? Well, as we know, it's at Ohio State. Not a great thing for Oregon. Very tough place to play. I think this game is going to look a whole lot like it did 2 years ago in Autzen Stadium, the year that Ohio State lost this game versus the Ducks, where most likely I think this game is going to play out last team with the ball wins. Last team with an opportunity to score wins. However, this is just my prediction, months and months in advance. I think Dante Moore is driving down the field, down, I don't know, 2 or 3 points, just a field goal or so. He's driving down the field late in the game to try to attempt to come back and try to beat the Buckeyes. But as Lee Corso says, not so fast, my friend. I think Buckeyes get a game-clinching interception to win this game. I've got the Buckeyes giving Oregon their first loss of the season on the road at the Shoe, and the Ducks are going to fall, in my opinion, and my prediction, to a record of 8-1 with their first loss of the season. Moving on to game number 10, November 14th versus Michigan. I do think this is a very great spot for a bounce-back game for this Oregon Ducks team. I do think the Ducks will be resilient. I think they'll come back stronger than ever. I think this loss to the Buckeyes will charge them to make a big, strong run for the rematch versus the Buckeyes in the Big Ten Championship. So I think Oregon comes out in this game with a vengeance. They come out into this game ticked off, mad about what happened the week before on the road, and now they're back at home. I don't think Michigan truly stands a chance. I don't see them scoring many points at all. Give me Oregon by 20 plus points to win this game, advancing with a record of 9-1. Going to game number 11, November 21st, Oregon is on the road again at Michigan State. Now, I do think this should be a fairly easy game for the Ducks, and I don't think there'll be much of a contest. Although this game is, if we're just thinking through the lens of the season and the college football calendar, this is a road game the week before they play Washington, which is their rival, and it is the regular season finale. So we have that to think about when we're looking at this matchup. We're looking at this game versus Michigan State. However, again, I think Oregon's just still ticked off about this loss to Ohio State. I think Oregon is just too much for Michigan State to handle, and honestly, Pat Fitzgerald, great coach, great man. I think he's going to have Michigan State running up. You know, the program is definitely going to have a boost, and they're going to be up to par within the next couple of years. Don't think it's his time yet. I think by the time the second half starts, depth players will be taking snaps for Oregon, and so I don't see this one being too close. Give Oregon the W, going to 10-1 into their final game of the regular season. Our final game that we'll predict on this episode today, game number 12, November 28th, home game versus their rival, the Washington Huskies. Now again, there's not much I can add to this as a preview. It's a big game. It's a Big Ten matchup. You and I probably, if you're close to my age, I'm almost 30, we remember this 10 years ago, 15 years ago, we better know this as a Pac-12 matchup, a Pac-12 rivalry. It's going to be a great game, very interesting game. This game means a lot to both teams, to Oregon, to Washington. This game, both teams are usually fighting tooth and nail to the finish, to the very end of the fourth quarter, till somebody finally wins. And while I do think Washington will get up for this game, they got a solid head coach in Jed Fish, a great coaching staff. I do think in this game they are going to be able to put up some points with Damon Williams and some pieces on the outside and some talent on the offense. I still think Oregon's program has much better talent on their roster. And again, I think they're going to be resilient. I think they're going to have a reason to just continue to finish the season strong. And I think this is going to show, all of this, their roster, their talent, their resilience is going to show towards the end of this game, even if Washington tries to drag them into deep waters. So I think the Ducks are going to win this. Give me the Ducks by 13 points. I think it's going to be a pretty close game until you get into the fourth, maybe even the mid to late fourth quarter. I think the Ducks will pull through, will get maybe a few field goals before the end of regulation to secure the season finale win. Well, there you have it, guys. That is our season prediction for the Oregon Ducks in 2026. I have them finishing with an overall record in the regular season of 11-1. I do think they will have a shot at the rematch, so I'm going to go ahead and predict that they will be in the Big Ten Championship, and they will be, again, having a rematch. Can't wait to do that video with the Buckeyes. I do also think whether they win or lose in the Big Ten championship, they're going to be getting into the college football playoff. Their national championship hopes are alive. Everything is still going to be in front of them at this point, whether they do or don't win the Big Ten championship. And the real question is, since the beginning of this video, that we're all asking is, can Dan Lanning finally get the Ducks over the hump and get the first national championship for this program, or at least get them into the national championship game? Can they get back to the Natty? Can they win their very first Natty in history as a program? Only time will tell. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Let me know your prediction. What record do you think Oregon will have and finish with in the 2026 football season? Thanks so much for watching again, and we hope to see you guys in the next one. Don't forget to subscribe. It helps us a lot. Don't forget to put the thumbs up and a like and comment on this video. It helps us out tremendously. Until next time, God bless and have a great day.